I'm joined by Harry Littman of the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast. Harry, Donald Trump don't have the cash. He doesn't have the money. I mean, he's scrambling in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case to delay there. We'll do a whole nother hot take on this, but this is the breaking news from Friday that Donald Trump has just filed in the Carroll case where he was hit with an $83.3 million verdict for defaming his sexual assault victim, including in court as well during the trial. He's filing a memorandum of law in support of a motion to stay the execution of the $83.3 million judgment pending disposition of the post-trial motions. This was filed by Hall of Fame lawyer, I say that sarcastically, Alina Habba right there, although they also added this James Otis from the Otis Law Group and John Sauer, who we've seen argue for Donald Trump, at least bringing in someone with some appellate experience here that needs to babysit Alina Habba. And let me just give you the highlights, Harry, then get your reaction. It says, pursuant to Rule 62 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure and this court's equitable authority, defendant, and they always call him president. I don't call him that here. You want to say former, fine. Donald J. Trump respectfully requests that this court grant an unsecured stay of the execution of the court's February 8th, 2024 judgment until 30 days after the resolution of Trump's post-trial motions under Rule 50 and 59 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, which will be filed no later than March 7th, 2024. So, Harry, they're going to attack the verdict. They're going to try to attack the proceedings, ask for there to be, a reduction in the amount, and then that the jury verdict be thrown out. As I mentioned, they're trying to appeal here to Judge Kaplan, the federal judge's equitable authority. This is someone who Trump and Alina Habba have been attacking over and over again. What do you think's going to happen here, Harry? What do you make of this motion for an equitable stay filed by Donald Trump?
Man, he is hurting. The word that jumped out at me there, Ben, was unsecured. Don't make me do anything, please. Don't make me put down a nickel. And what he wants to do is to extend things in post-trial motions, which he could keep doing, but that's not, it's really, once you enter judgment, you have 30 days. Those are the rules, and they're not held in abeyance. He's kind of making it up. And what for your very sophisticated already viewers, equitable. What does that mean, really? It means the sort of inherent powers of a court dating way back to kind of do whatever and do things in a just manner. And what's that mean? It's not the actual rules. It's like, just do something fair here, please, and don't secure it at all. So first, it's chutzpah. What's the adjective for? I think chutzpah-tik. Is that the adjective for chutzpah? That's for starters. Second, it shows to me that he's really hurting. And remember, this $83.3 million, that's about a fifth or a sixth of what he's got to come up with in the other case that judgment was just entered formally in today. He went to Engoron before and said, oh, also, can you please hold freeze the linebackers while we talk it over, the two parties? And Engoron said, what? Same idea. It's some sort of extra rule kind of thing. Engoron said no. So that clock is now running. Bottom line, he's got to be really, really hurting and facing like, what do I do to raise this kind of money? And how do I avoid actually having to put up for bond my prestige, Trump brand buildings like 40 Wall Street?
But Harry, Alina Habba went on all the right-wing media and she said he's a billionaire and he's got all the money. And of course, he's going to post the bond. He's ready to go. He practically has the cash falling out of his pocket. When Alina Habba did that because I'm so used to her now saying, oh, of course he's going to testify. It's like, Alina Habba, please just give me your stock tips, please, so I can short all of them. The opposite of what she says is always. So that was, to me, a tell when she did that, Harry.
I really, and sort of 2 points. Look, everyone has noted she's a really lousy trial lawyer, doesn't know how to put in evidence, but she's got a sort of shtick that keeps her in his good graces, and that's basically she knows what he wants to hear. And maybe it's not so hard if you spend time around him. You just want to aggrandize him as much as possible. So that's out of the Trump script book. Remember, he used to pretend to be a different person, a money manager, and make the same calls and say the same things to like Forbes. That's who Alina Habba is now. And so there's a certain effectiveness, even as we disparage her legal chops. And then more generally, it's always been a mystery. Is the whole empire a kind of Potemkin village and there's nothing behind it? And he's been able to bob and weave for a career. And this is a huge crisis at the end of the career where he's got to pony up hundreds of millions of dollars. He either got it or he don't. And if he doesn't, he's got to go to banks who are going to need a lot of collateral for someone who might be having criminal penalties soon. And, what's he got? I think everyone pretty well agrees, if he liquidated things, he would have enough money. But that's the big question. Is he going to actually have to part with or deeply, deeply encumber his prestige, pride, crown jewels of real estate properties?
As I go through this memorandum of law in support of this unsecured, equitable request for a stay, let me just give you some of the arguments and you can see how frivolous it is. So the first thing that's argued in this motion by Habba is, she says, as multiple courts have held, this is on page 3, as multiple courts have held, an unsecured stay may be appropriate before the court rules on post-trial motions where the amount of judgment is uncertain and likely to be affected by the disposition of post-trial motions. So let's just pause there. Yeah. It ain't uncertain.
We got a jury verdict here, right? I mean, is it a rounding error? That's right. So, I mean, that's
83.3 million. It's 83.3 million. And then what they argue is that it's likely to be reduced. So they go into the argument and claim that the 7.3 million in compensatory is way too high. I mean, in my review of New York jury trials, it's kind of right at the sweet spot. There's the reputational repair right at the sweet spot. And as you and I have done other hot takes on before, the punitive damages are 3.5 to 4 times your economic damages, which is within the range that's always been allowed in New York. If it was more than 5 times, I can see, okay, there's an issue there. But I think the jury kind of reached the Mona Lisa verdict here that makes a motion like this impracticable, and I think we'll see Judge Kaplan swiftly reject it. What do you think?
Yeah, well, so and also remember, this is sort of all twisted up here because what he's saying is that I have a claim basically on appeal, but that's what you have to put up the money for, and the trial has run its course, and the jury, as you say, 83.3. So there's There's what he's saying is I would have a good claim on appeal, but there are rules and regulations for how to do that. Judge Kaplan, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I'm a young punk in DOJ, I vetted him, and I've known him, a little bit since then. When he first got on the bench, he is not. Well, we already saw this in the trial. He's not going to cut a lot of slack to these lousy arguments by Donald Trump. And he might even disparage them in a polite, judicious way. But this very point is that's why you put up money for the appeal, Donald Trump. Not, this is not that. It doesn't change things, and that's not why you hold everything in abeyance. You lost the trial. Go up to the appellate. Go up to the Second Circuit. Have a ball. But we're not going to suspend things.
Couldn't agree more with you, Harry Littman. Always on the same page. We'll find an issue we
need
potentially. We'll find an issue we disagree on, but when it comes to Donald Trump and Alina Habba filing frivolous motions, you and I will usually be on the same side here. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to the Talking Feds YouTube channel. They're partnered with the MeidasTouch Network, and the hot takes by Harry and his team over there at Talking Feds is very much complimentary, and they touch on things that we aren't always able to hit here on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. So help them get to 250,000 subscribers, please, and hit subscribe here as well on the MeidasTouch YouTube channel, and have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.